You're now listening to the Positively Inspired Daily Podcast. Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to introduce you to Mr.bean, a beloved character admired by people around the world. Though he says very little, he manages to bring endless laughter. Let me tell you a bit of his background first. Many people may not know that the wildly funny Mr.bean was actually created by a man who was quite quiet, shy, and nerdy in real life, Rowan Atkinson. This man was born into an ordinary family in England. He had 4 siblings and was the youngest of them all. His parents encouraged him to pursue science, seeing it as a more stable path. So he studied electrical engineering, eventually earning a master's degree from the University of Oxford, which is quite impressive. But even though he was on an engineering path, he had a deep passion for performing. Since he was a child, he loved doing funny faces in front of the mirror and could mimic others with uncanny accuracy. During his time at university, he met a director named Richard Curtis, who later became a key collaborator in creating the explosive success of Mr.bean. Rowan first became known through a British comedy show called Not the 9 O'Clock News, before gradually landing more roles that relied more on character than on dialogue. What's truly fascinating is that Rowan has a stutter. He doesn't like speaking in front of large crowds because he's afraid he might stumble over his words. That's what led him to develop a unique style of silent performance. Instead, he trained himself to express emotion through facial expressions, body language, and eye movement, all of which later became the signature of Mr.bean. Mr.bean first appeared on screen in 1990 during a special program on ITV. The audience loved it so much that the BBC commissioned a full series. However, it took years to produce because Rowan didn't want to rush it. He paid great attention to comic timing and simplicity, making sure everything was just right. Even though there are only 15 main episodes and a few specials, Mr.bean has become one of the most recognizable characters in the world. He barely says a word, just a few odd sounds and quirky faces, but people from all countries and all languages can laugh together just the same. In a way, you could say Mr.bean is the universal language of laughter. Now let's take a closer look at Rowan Atkinson's mindset, the quiet genius behind the laughter that echoes around the world. Many people may think Mr.bean is a character born from pure talent. But in reality, he's the result of deep thought and countless experiments by one man, Rowan Atkinson. He once said, "The best comedy is the kind you don't have to explain." Rowan believes that laughter doesn't always have to come from words. He creates humor from everyday situations. He never set out to make Mr.bean funny in a forced way. Instead, he started by asking himself a simple question: what would happen if you put someone who thinks differently into an ordinary situation? And so he created a character who thinks like a child, makes all kinds of silly decisions, but always commits fully, ignores social rules and politeness. And all of this became Mr.bean. Rowan sees Mr.bean as a little boy in a grown man's body, a reflection of a part of humanity that exists in all of us. When we watch Mr.bean, we don't just laugh, we relate. We think, yeah, I've had that thought before, but I'd never dare do it. Because words can sometimes limit humor. One of Rowan's key beliefs is this: the more you speak, the fewer people will understand. But if you express something through visuals and body language, it becomes a universal language. That's why Mr.bean hardly ever speaks, because Rowan wanted audiences around the world to understand him without needing subtitles. He once said, "I don't want comedy to be something that needs translating. I want everyone to laugh together." And that's exactly why Mr.bean became a global hit, even in countries where English isn't spoken at all. Perfecting comedy through repetition. Rowan is incredibly detail-oriented. He would go as far as to script every single movement Mr.bean makes. He believes that comedy is all about timing. Some scenes may look simple, like eating a sandwich or putting on pants in a car, but in reality, he practiced those movements dozens of times. Because in his eyes, Too fast and it's not funny. Too slow and it gets boring. Minimalism in comedy. Another profound idea behind Rowan's work is, less is more. The best comedy is simple. He intentionally uses as few props as possible, speaks as little as possible, and focuses instead on what's going on inside the character's mind. This allows the audience to engage their own imagination and to feel a stronger connection with Mr. Bean. In summary, Mr. Bean may seem like just a man doing silly things, but in reality, he is the result of a deep way of thinking. Rowan Atkinson is not only a comedian, but an emotion designer, someone who understands the audience, the rhythm of laughter, and the universal language of humanity, which is understanding without words. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below telling us which topics or people you'd like us to cover next. Your support means a lot and helps us keep creating inspiring content for you every day.